Can you please tell us a little bit about your post-secondary education and background?
On the advice of my counsel, I respectfully invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege. Therefore, I respectfully decline to answer your question at this time.
Again, Mr. Villanueva, please tell us about your post-secondary education and background.
On the advice of my counsel, I respectfully invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege. Therefore, I respectfully decline to answer your question.
Thank you for that, Mr. Villanueva. The assistance of our counsel under section 1306, counsel. If the witness is not here, not to provide any information or is withholding information from the committee or withholding any other documents from the committee, he can be held in contempt, so that we can note that for the record.
Thank you. So just for that, so that we're clear here, counsel of Mr. Villanueva, you're aware that he may be found in contempt of the investigation for not answering any of the questions.
I'm aware that he has the rights to assert, and I'm aware that the contempt of the legislature charges this.
We are back, and Rep. Atos, who has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, Mr. Villanueva, please tell us about your post-secondary education and background.
On the advice of my counsel, I respectfully invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege. Therefore, I respectfully decline to answer any of your questions or the question.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Mr. Villanueva. Under 1 CMC 1306A2, a person shall be in contempt if the person fails or refuses to answer any relevant question or fails or refuses to furnish any relevant book, paper, or other document subpoenaed by or on behalf of the investigating committee. And under 1 CMC 1306B, you may be held in contempt for withholding or refusing to answer any questions. Is that clear, Mr. Villanueva?
I understand.
Just for clarification, just so you are officially, just for the record, refusing to answer any of the questions, correct? Or you want us to move along and you can cite the refusal of answering each questions?
On the advice of my counsel, I would respectfully invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege. Therefore, I respectfully decline to answer the question.
Rep, you still have the floor.
Thank you, and thank you for that, Mr. Villanueva. You have the rights to so do that. But with that being said, it's obviously clear that Mr. Villanueva won't be answering any other questions, as we do have a lot of questions related to Mr. Villanueva and his companies. And I believe that the next motion by this committee would be to invoke the motion of contempt and have the speaker make the recommendation to the Attorney General's office to hold Mr. Villanueva in contempt.
Before you make the motion, just short recess. So recognizes the Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, councils. Special thanks to our legislative assistants and everyone who worked and spent a lot of time into putting together the questions, reviewing hundreds of pages of documents, and I can assure you to the general public, we're all disappointed that Mr. Villanueva is not willing to testify, as there were many questions that we had to ask in regard to Boost, but also with regard to the fishermen and ranchers program that Mr. Villanueva was supposed to oversee. We have several documents that we're going to address that. We're also very concerned with the exorbitant amount that he was paid for overseeing that program. The fact that the contract was not, in fact, valid. We had met with the Secretary of Finance and found out that the contract was not, in fact, valid through the Secretary of Finance. The fact that it should have been ratified if that were the case, and that did not happen. And then also with regard to the amount that Mr. Villanueva was paid for overseeing this program at $215,000 at the very least. That actually was much higher than the actual entire farmers, fishermen, and ranchers program, which was very disappointing. Each farmer, fisherman, and rancher that went out was to receive a small $500 amount. But as my colleagues and myself and others had found out, many were turned away. Originally, the projection was $1 million for this FFR, Farmer, Fishermen, and Ranchers program. That turned out to be a pittance of that. We have looked at the amounts that were received and how many were actually given to the number of farmers, fishermen, and ranchers, and that amount, Congressman Cobre Aldon, that was actually one of your questions. If you don't mind, could I ask you to tell the public how much that totaled to, that was actually given out for farmers, fishermen, and ranchers, and how many were awarded, sir?
Thank you, Vice Chair. So one of the questions that I was supposed to have asked is that, so the total amount, grant money amount that was supposed to be given out was $182,000, and it was supposed to be $500 for each farmer, fisherman, and rancher, which, if you divide that up, it totals up to 364 awardees. That's how much awardees are supposed to have had, or benefited from that.
And so, just for the record, can you repeat the number of actual awardees again?
I didn't get that. So the actual numbers that are supposed to be awarded is 364.
364. And that totals up to how much?
500 each. So the pot was at $182,000.
182,000. Thank you, Chairman. And the reason why we bring this up is that the original projection for giving this out during the campaign, during the FFR program, was it was supposed to be $1 million,
Right.
and then it actually, what was actually given out was only $182,000.
Correct.
And there was supposed to be, between San Bernardino and Rhoda, a total of 1,000 farmers, fishermen, and ranchers that would be given this. And it turned out that there was only 364 actually awarded. That is correct from our records. Is that
That's
accurate?
correct, sir.
Thank you. And that is just one of many, many perplexing things that we had seen with regard to the documents that we had seen. And we were hoping to go through so much more. But because of time, I would just want to say that much of what we had to discuss, including this and many other things, will be, I guess, discussed without Mr. Villanueva, who we were hoping would shed some light into the questions that we had based on the issues with Boost and farmers and fishermen and ranchers and other things that we have seen. And the reason why that this is so disappointing is that At the end of the day, essentially, this is free money that was being given out. It was free money. It wasn't something that needed the most extraordinary marketing that money could buy. But yet, there was a ton of money that was spent, and we hope to go through that and see where exactly it went. We will have to do that on our own in our next meeting with our chairman and our good colleagues. And I want to thank you all for your time and all the hard work that you've put in and the long hours in leading this up. It doesn't end here. We are going to move forward with other others who will testify. So thank you for this time. I yield, Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Chair recognizes Representative Flores.
Thank you, Chairman. I think I'm just a little curious here. Obviously, that was our first individual who we had subpoenaed, and we have already blocked dates the rest of the week. So will we be moving all of those up, or we'll just leave them at the set date?
It remains the same.
Okay, thank you. I yield.
Any further? Chair recognizes Representative Sablon.
Thank you, Chairman. Just for clarity with regards to the motion that we have voted earlier in contempt for Mr. Shayne Villanueva. Mr. Chair, I'm assuming that you will be calling immediately a committee meeting so that we can fully vote on this in contempt motion that we have just voted early on.
That's correct.
Thank you. I yield.
Any further? With that, I guess no one else wants to comment. With that, the chair would now recess to March 7 at 10 a.m., where witnesses Mr. Trevilla and Ms. Sapp will appear 10 a.m. this Thursday. And with that being none further, the chair now will recess at 10:50 a.m. Thank you.